Welcome to Sleepy Tales. My name is Mateus, and before we begin today's story, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to our channel and leave a comment below saying, "I'll sleep well tonight." Now, sit back, relax, and let's dive into tonight's tale. The Woods family had decided to move away from the bustling city life and settle down in a quaint little town. After weeks of searching, they finally found their dream home, a beautiful old house with a sprawling garden and a view of the woods. The house seemed perfect in every way, except for the fact that it looked a bit eerie with its creaky floorboards and dimly lit rooms. But the Woods were undeterred. They thought it added to the charm of the place. As they began to settle in, strange things started happening. Doors would slam shut by themselves, footsteps could be heard in the hallway even though nobody was there, and objects would move on their own. At first, the family brushed it off, thinking it was just their imagination playing tricks on them. But as the days passed, the events became more frequent and terrifying. The family members started to fear for their safety. One night, while they were having dinner, the chandelier above them started to swing violently. The family was terrified, and they huddled together in the living room, waiting for the disturbance to subside. Suddenly, a loud crash was heard from upstairs. The family members crept up the stairs, their hearts pounding with fear. As they reached the top of the stairs, they saw a shadowy figure moving towards them. The family members screamed in terror and fled the house, determined to never return. After a few days, they decided to investigate the history of the house. They discovered that the house was built over 100 years ago and used to be an asylum for the mentally ill. The asylum was notorious for its inhumane treatment of patients, and many of them had died within its walls. The Woods were horrified to learn about the dark history of their dream home. But their horror was far from over. As they were leaving the town, they received a letter that was addressed to them. The letter was from a person claiming to be a former patient of the asylum who had survived the experiments conducted on them. The letter warned the Woods that they were not safe and that the spirits of the patients who died in the asylum were still haunting the place. The Woods were skeptical at first, but they couldn't shake off the feeling that something was wrong. They decided to return to the house, determined to unravel the mystery behind the strange events. As they stepped inside, they saw a group of people standing in front of them. The group consisted of former patients of the asylum who had somehow managed to escape and hide in the house. The Woods were shocked to see the patients, and they realized that the terrifying events they had experienced were caused by the ghosts of the patients seeking revenge. The patients told the family about the horrific experiments they had been subjected to and how they had been left to die in the asylum. The Woods were heartbroken to hear their story, and they decided to help them seek justice. Together, they contacted the authorities and exposed the inhumane treatment of the patients at the asylum. The ghosts of the patients were finally able to rest in peace, and the Woods were able to move on from their nightmare. They never returned to the house, but they were grateful to have been able to help the patients find closure. The Woods had learned a valuable lesson. Sometimes the past can come back to haunt you, and it's up to you to face it head-on. They had been able to confront their fears and help others in the process. And although the dream home had turned into a nightmare, they had come out of it stronger and more compassionate than ever before. Thank you for listening to this bedtime story. And remember, if you struggle with falling or staying asleep at night, click on the first link in the description for the ultimate solution to your problem. Now, choose one of these two videos and continue on our journey in the world of bedtime stories.